Hi friends, welcome back to Pickle Pete Presents. With the release of the upper, mid-range, and high-end devices now utilizing the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, let's take a closer look at the specs of that chip that was originally announced by Qualcomm in November of 2022. The Snapdragon 8 is an 8-core chip built on 4nm paired with the Adreno 740 GPU. For connectivity, it supports Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.3. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 core configuration are as follows. One Gold Plus core operating at 3.2 GHz, 4 Gold cores running at 2.80 GHz, and 3 Silver cores operating at 2.0 GHz. The Adreno 740 GPU operates at 680 MHz and supports Vulkan 1.3, OpenCL 2.0, and DirectX 12.1. The CPU supports LPDDR5X memory with a maximum bandwidth of 67.2 gigabits per second. Now let's take a side-by-side comparison of the Snapdragon 865 versus the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 from the website nanoreview.net. This chart shows the technical specification of the Snapdragon 865 on the left and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 on the right. Both chips are running 8 cores, but the 8 Gen 2 cores are clocked higher and faster. The 8 Gen 2 has double the L3 cache of 8 MB versus 4 MB on the older 865 chip. The 8 Gen 2 is built on a smaller node size of 4nm with 16 billion transistors versus the older 7nm node with 10.3 billion transistors. The 8 Gen 2 has a higher sustained power limit, 8.5 watts versus 5 watts on the 865. On the GPU front, the newer Adreno 740 is clocked slightly higher than the Adreno 650 at 680 MHz versus 587 MHz. Both have 3 graphics pipelines. The Adreno 740 has doubled the shading units, which translates to double the amount of shaders. The Adreno 650 can perform over 900 gigaflops, while the Adreno 740 can perform just over 2000 gigaflops. The 8 Gen 2 supports LPDDR5X at a maximum frequency of 4200 MHz versus the 865 older memory using LPDDR5 at 2750 MHz. The maximum bandwidth has increased from 44 gigabits per second to 67.2 gigabits per second. The 8 Gen 2 can now support a maximum of 24 gigabytes of RAM. The Antutu 10 benchmarks show the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 having double the score of the older Snapdragon 865. The Geekbench 6 scores has the 8 Gen 2 having a 78% uplift in performance on single core and 62% increase in multi-core. The 8 Gen 2 compute score is 3 times that of the Snapdragon 865. The 3D Mark benchmarks show the 8 Gen 2 having a huge leap in performance at over 3 times the score of the older 865 chip, just over 13,000 versus 3,875 of the 865. This is where the performance increase of the 8 Gen 2 over that of the 865 when emulating newer systems that can take advantage of the increase in GPU performance. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 can be found in the following devices: the Retro Pocket 6, the AYN Odin 2 Portal, and the newest device from AYN, the AYN Thor. Emulation performance of devices using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 include all 5th generation consoles and below such as N64, PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, 6th generation consoles such as PS2, GameCube, and Dreamcast at 3 to 4 times internal resolution. Much improved performance on Wii, Wii U, and Switch emulation with minor settings. This chip can also open up the ability to play indie and older PC games by emulation using GameHub, GameHub Lite, or Winulator with minor tweaks. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is currently the best price/performance chip for higher-end retro gaming devices at this time. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button below. Pickle Pete signing out.